Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Not Everybody Needs a Podcast with your host, Mackenzie Rencher. Guys, I'm so sad that Christmas is over now. I feel like I built up all this excitement, especially with the kids and all of that, and we did all our festivities last week. We saw lights. We met Santa Claus. Beckham had the time of her life. And now I'm just sitting here with my green juice, fighting for my life. I cannot even explain to you the amount of sugar that I had this last week. And I am not a sugar hater by any means, but I do usually eat pretty healthy. And if I have a treat, I try to do like the healthier version of a treat, but not these last few weeks. I have been eating every sugar in sight. I made these sugar cookie bars for a Christmas party that we threw, which was a blast, by the way. And when I say I ate every single one, I think people at the party probably had like 5 or 6, and other than that, the other 30 bars were ate within 3 days after this party. So I'm just recovering, and yeah, we had the best Christmas. I surprised Darian with a trip back to our honeymoon spot because he's been talking about this for so long. We both have, and I finally planned it. I've actually had it planned for like 2 months now, because now that we have kids, we have to check with people before we can go do things, obviously, to make sure it works with their schedule. So I texted both of our moms. I had it planned for 2 months, and right after I booked it, he started being like, should we just plan to go back to our honeymoon spot? Like, I don't know, I just really feel like we should do that. It'd be good to get away. And I'm like, no, I don't think we should. Not now. Kaysen's too young. But anyway, by the time that we go on the trip, he'll be like 7 months, so I feel better about that. He surprised me with my first designer bag, which I was shook, because I don't really care to have designer bags, and we'll get into the designer bag drama in a second, because I have a guest for you guys today, which I'm very excited about. This person has created an amazing brand for herself by just being herself. She's a big reason why I started getting into TikTok. She showed me the ropes, and she's also just one of my best friends. So Mackenzie Galloway, welcome to Not Everybody Needs a Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It's so funny because you've been a Galloway for almost 2 years now, and I still want to call you Grimsley sometimes.
Sometimes I say Mackenzie Grimsley.
Like, I can't stop.
And a lot of places that I go have my name as Grimsley.
Like, what do you mean? Where?
Like, the doctor.
Oh. Because you haven't changed your last name.
I have changed my last name.
Okay.
But, like, in systems and stuff, I'm just too lazy
to, like, tell them it's different.
Yeah, there's no point.
How was your Christmas? I need to know what your favorite gift was. What'd you do? Who'd you hang out with?
It was good. Me and Brayden obviously don't do a ton of gifts. We just spend most of it on like traveling and stuff, and so we kind of had decided if we were doing Aspen every year, that was going to be part of our gifts. He got me some stuff from Lulu. We went and saw my family, and then obviously spent Christmas with his mom. But all in all, it was good. It was a good Christmas.
Good. When did this Aspen thing start? Because Darian told me, we were in the car like a few weeks ago, and he was like, well, they can't, we were gonna like get dinner with you guys, or I was asking what you guys were doing this week or something, and he was like, well, they're going to Aspen every year now. I was like, I didn't know that this was a every year thing.
Last year was the first year we went.
Yeah.
And then Brayden had never been skiing before, but I grew up skiing. So he did ski school, and then he loved skiing. So he was like, we're going to do this every year, make it a tradition, like Christmas tradition, which is perfect because Aspen is like the little perfect Hallmark Christmas movie.
I know. Every time someone goes and they post stuff, I want to go. But I just don't know if the Aspen life is personally for me. I just don't ski, and I don't know if that's my thing.
Yeah, I feel like it's, if you don't like ski or snowboard or, like to ice skate, which I saw you ice skated the other day.
I did.
You could do that in Aspen.
Guys, I went ice skating with 2 of my best friends, Emily and Ashley. And when I say I almost died multiple times, and I'm not exaggerating, like my ankles almost gave out on me. Well, because I worked at I don't know if you know this, but I worked at a ice skating rink in high school. Yes. I worked at a place called Plex. And they had a trampoline park, they had ice skating. I would do everyone's birthday parties. And so I used to ice skate. Like, that was my thing. And then since high school, I never went back because I was like scarred for life, because that place scarred me. It was the worst first job ever. And I lost it all. Like, my ankles almost gave out, and I got scared that I was going to lose my life.
Did you use the little
Yes.
assist.
For like a second. But like I just got embarrassed, and I didn't want these kids to be like looking at me like, why are you taking my equipment? So I was like, no, we have to abandon this. But I'm very sad that Christmas is over. Are you doing anything for New Year's?
Yes, we're going to Miami for New Year's, and we just decided that we're going to see Cardi B, and I'm very excited.
That is so. Wait, where is she performing?
11.
Oh, okay.
Not my top choice, but if Cardi
anything
B's
for Cardi,
there, yeah,
no, anything for Cardi.
Yeah.
Obviously. Wait, what were your options? Because you're going to go see Montana Ryan, which are your
I think
friends.
Central C. I think he's gonna be at Live, and then
Darian forced me the other night. I was trying to get in like the Christmas spirit, and I come upstairs thinking that he's gonna have a Christmas movie on. He's playing Lil Baby in Central C at Rolling Loud, and like made me watch it. And I was, I saw Central C live in Atlanta because Drake brought him out as like a surprise guest or whatever. And I like him. I'm not saying he's the best performer of my life. Like I don't know if you're necessarily missing out.
Yeah, now you see why I'd rather.
Yeah,
go.
Cardi it
And
is.
I think Lil Baby was somewhere, but we've seen Lil Baby before, and
he's done a better job.
Yeah.
I've seen different performances over the years, and him at Rolling Loud, like he kind of killed it. No,
well,
he did.
So because that was what, like 2 or 3 years ago when we saw him, and he was not giving.
It was a little. I feel like rappers, they're just used to doing it in the studio, and I feel like it probably is hard to perform your raps live.
Yeah,
but you do know how, that's a part of the job. You do have to.
That is a part of the job, especially when you're on tour.
Yeah.
To tell you that.
Are you doing any like New Year's resolutions? Do you believe in them?
Not really. And that may be controversial. And I think it works for some people, but I don't ever really sit down and think like, what are my New Year's resolutions? Because I don't think I ever stick to them. Just because I think a lot of people think, okay, it's a new year, so I have to choose something and stick with it, and then they never stick with it. And it's just kind of this like taboo. Would that be the right word? Yeah. It's just kind of this thing you do. And I guess I did for a while, and then I'm like, why am I doing this the last week? I know. I'm like, I'd rather just, decide I want to change my life and do it actually.
Yeah, I asked Darren the same question. He was like, I feel like people don't realize that they have the opportunity to change whatever they want. I'm like, so true.
Like, it's only on January 1st, I know. And then you have to wait until the next year.
Because I do like this thing every Monday where I like try to do something new that week. Like I guess in 2025 I did say I am gonna try to go more places and do more things. Like I just hate that there's so many people that live close to me. Like even me and you, like I would love to hang out with you more. Like we do hang out. Yeah. Like I hang out with you more than I do anybody else, like, or just as much. But even then, it's not that much just because I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm just so tired, and planning out stuff just takes so long. But I'm like, you just have to do it. You're never going to do it. It makes me laugh, though, because I still get messages, like, if I ever post with you, of like, oh my gosh, I got worried. Like, I'm just happy to see you guys are still friends. I'm like, guys, just because we don't post doesn't, I mean, I rarely post. Yeah, unless I have a party. That's like really the only time I really post, because I'm like, okay, I got ready for this. I'm going to take pictures, whatever.
Yeah, because we're not going to Miyabi's, like, post it up.
Exactly. Like, whenever you and I hang out, like, Darian will snap a picture if there's one thing about Darian, and I get so mad at him in the moment, but afterwards I'm like, I'm so happy that we have these memories. But like if we're meeting you at the park, like I'm not like flicking up. I mean, thank God we have Darian. That's the only way I'm ever gonna remember anything around this time, because I have a horrible memory. But yeah, it just makes me laugh, because I'm like, why do people have this idea that we ever stopped being friends? I don't know. We've never stopped being friends. But speaking of our friendship, let's give them a little background of how we became friends. So this is just so funny. Whenever we first became friends, it was because Brayden and Darian have been close for forever. Like they have pictures together, which I don't think a lot of people know this. I think they thought that they became friends when they started playing football at Clemson together, but they have been friends since middle school? Yeah,
if not before.
Yeah, like they played basketball together in middle school. Did they ever play football together? I don't know. They definitely played against each other at some point.
I don't think with each other.
In high school. Yeah, Darian's a few years older, but I also knew Brayden before I knew McKenzie, because I met Brayden at a church summer camp. We were in like the same they just did groups throughout the day, and we ended up being in the same group. So I met him through that, and I wasn't with Darian at this time. I ended up dating Darian a year later, but so I knew Braden from that. And then Braden ended up going to play football at Clemson. Darian already played football at Clemson for 2 years at that point. And whenever I saw Braden had a girlfriend, I was like, wait, like you have a girlfriend? Because I'd never known like Braden to have like a fully like committed relationship. I was like, he must really like this girl. And so I was like, I have to meet her. And him and Darian were like always close. So I was like, we just have to meet each other. Do you remember the first time we actually met?
I don't know. Was the first time not?
Was it a game?
For some reason,
I knew who you were for a while. Like I'd see you at games, but I'm like, I don't really want to like say hey because I don't know if she knows who I am. I feel like the first time we met was when I came over to Marissa's house. Was it not? Like actually like talked, or was that not? Maybe.
Unless it was like maybe we introduced ourselves after a game or like at a game, but it was just kind of like Braden and Darian were talking. We were like, hi.
Yes. So Marissa Lawrence, her husband now, but her then boyfriend, was also good friends with Darian on the team, Trevor. So Trevor and Darian were friends. Trevor and Braden were friends. They were all friends. And then in comes KJ. KJ and them are all friends. And they all get into committed relationships around the same time. And so it's like, we just need to get the girls together. Yeah. KJ and Trevor were roommates. And so Tiffany and Marissa were around each other. And then I had been friends with Marissa for a while before that. And so we had our individual friendships, and then we all just united one day and we just clicked and became friends. And so now in comes the Real House of Death Valley, Real Housewives of Death Valley. It started off as a joke. Not that it still isn't. Like we don't actually take it serious.
But the way people like actually thought, we like sat down one day and were like, what could we call ourselves that makes sense?
No, yeah.
The Real Housewives of Death Valley.
No, this is how it came about. Okay, guys. So we became friends. We started doing so much together because we really had all the same schedules. Because if we wanted to hang out with our boyfriends, they were always together. Yeah. And so that was really convenient. And so once we started posting pictures together, and a few of you guys already did social media. I had started my YouTube. I was like very fresh. But I did not really do TikTok, and I didn't really care about Instagram or like anything like that. I really was just like YouTube vlogs. And so if you guys did social media, so you guys already had a big following. You and Tiffany had like a few million followers then.
I think I had like 1 million.
Yeah, you had 1 million, and I think Tiffany like had 1 million. Yeah. And so you guys already had a big following, and so people started to like pick up on the fact that like we were all hanging out together. And Darian one day, as a joke, posted on one of our Instagrams, Real Housewives of Death Valley, and it got like crazy likes, and people were laughing, thought it was hilarious. And people actually started picking up on it and like saying that to us in person or commenting on our stuff. And it just became this big joke, and we just kind of ran with it. And it ended up being this like fun little girl group moment that I still stand by are some of the best moments of my life. Like we just had so many good memories, and we just had so much fun together. And it was so fun getting to do game days together, and like we did get readies with me's, and did I say gets readies with me's? Okay.
Get readies with me's.
Gets readies with me's. and we just had so much fun. Yeah. And you guys were big on TikTok, and I didn't really know what TikTok was, and so you guys kind of like showed me how to do it, and I just started having fun with it. And now that's like, I would say, my biggest following and the thing that I have the most fun creating with. So I guess a big thank you to you.
I think I remember one of the first times we hung out, and you were starting your TikTok, and you were stressed about the timing of when you should post, and it being like all like
perfect.
Yeah, perfect. And I was like, you should just have fun with it and post when you want, and if it's like 1 a.m. just post, like just make it organic. And then I feel like after then is when you like really became consistent on TikTok, because you were literally just having fun with it. But those days or those weeks when we could get together every week for game days was like, if I could go back to a time, that's probably the time I would choose. Because like imagine being able to have a sleepover with your best friends every week and just literally
like, you just don't do that in college, really.
Yeah, you don't really do that. And like, but it was perfect because Brayden would never be at my apartment. And so they would either come over, we would go to Mackenzie's house, or like one year we went to Bryce's house, and we would just do the craziest things.
It was just so fun.
Yeah, we were just so silly.
We were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree about wanting to go back to that time because it just felt like so simple and fun. And you're right. I used to like look into TikTok so heavy. Like I would be like, when do I post? Is this stupid to post? And that's something I admire about you so much is like you really do have fun with it. And like even though at this point like this is both of our jobs, we're not sitting here like calculating, like making sure it's perfect. Like you still have so much fun with it. And I feel like that's why people love you so much because they can tell that you are organic and you're yourself and you're funny.
I'm
my mom,
funny.
you are funny. And my mom always like my mom will watch your TikToks and come over to my house and talk to me about them. She's like, did you see that Brady and Mackenzie and blah blah blah. And like
so
she cracks up and I'm just like this like it is giving me an inside scoop of like why people love you guys so much because even my mom like is like they're so funny.
And your grandma like loves Brayden, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does. My grandma loves all my friends. Like she keeps up with y'all. There's not a video of y'all that she misses. I promise you that.
That's so
me and
funny.
Mackenzie laugh too because we never see each other's stuff on social media because TikTok hides it for whatever reason. Like why I don't know. But I see Brayden's stuff. I don't see Mackenzie's stuff.
That's so weird. I don't see either of you guys' stuff unless I like look you up.
Yeah, but one thing I'm gonna do is look Mackenzie up every few days because I'm like, what is my girl up to? How are you feeling about the TikTok ban?
I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to just pretend it's like not gonna happen because
Kind of same.
Were you on TikTok the last time this happened?
Yes.
And I remember
it's been like 3 or 4 times at this point.
Yeah, the first time when I was like super serious was during that COVID time, and I remember I was about to hit 1 million, and then it was
not
like,
now, Father, not now.
We were sitting at this like Japanese restaurant in Colombia, and I thought my world was ending. I was like, I was literally about to hit 1 million followers, and you guys are gonna ban it. And they were saying it was gonna happen like any time. It wasn't like you get a week notice. They're saying it was this day, and then they said it was gonna happen, and it never did. And so I'm just holding on to the hope that
it never
happens.
does. I hate that we have a deadline. The fact that it's like 3 weeks away. I think I'm just also pretending that it's not going to happen. And if it does, I'm like, it'll all work out. There's always going to be something else. But I'm going to miss it if it does. Like, first of all, I hope I can keep my videos.
Yeah.
Because I love to scroll back and look at like Baby Beckham or like even our like Housewives videos or whatever. Like we had so much fun making stuff. And also, I'm not by any means saying being a creator is hard, but we do put like a lot of work and effort into like the videos, and so the fact that it can all just float away is just crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
And I hope I get to say one final goodbye. If so, like I hope they have a definite answer a few days before so I can like mourn it.
Yeah. Well, I know that like even if it gets banned, what people are saying, like you would still have the app on your phone technically, and that's what everyone's saying.
You
like,
just can't post.
If you had like a VPN, it would work.
Oh.
But then
getting a VPN?
Yeah, I mean maybe they would, but then it would stop working once you can't update it. So it's like you would eventually have to move on to the next, which would be really sad because I really like TikTok.
Me too. I just feel like it's way less serious. When I post stuff on Reels, I rarely post on Reels because it feels too like
they are mean.
Yeah, they're mean.
You post on Instagram Reels and they will rip you apart.
The worst message that I will get on TikTok is when people are like, post this on Instagram Reels.
Yeah,
and like it does. I'm like,
that's
no, I'm gonna get bullied.
I'm scared of Instagram Reels.
Me too. I feel like that's definitely not gonna be what is the next thing. They're gonna have to make a whole new app that replicates it. Ugh, why does America have to be so greedy?
I don't know.
It's all like a data thing, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, if someone in the US bought like a little part of TikTok, then it would all be fine.
But they won't sell?
I'm not really sure.
I think that's the whole thing is like they won't sell to America.
Yeah, but apparently they're letting the guy who owns TikTok have a what's it called when he gets to go in front of them and give a speech.
Meeting?
Yeah, something
I don't know
like
what that would be called.
I don't know, but originally they weren't even going to hear him out, and then now they're going to hear him out.
I just remember.
So I just hope that he has something to say.
No, same. And I really think I don't have a lot of good things to say about Trump. Really, zero. Besides, I really need him to pull through.
With all the things he's saying, he loves it and he wants. Then it better stay.
Pull through, Trumpy.
It better
We need
stay.
you, Trump. I also just remembered we never talked about the holding space for defying gravity lyrics, and how did you see the interview after them saying that they had no idea what was going on?
No.
You're lying.
No.
So if you guys have not seen this, there was a whole interview with the Wicked cast, and by cast I mean Ariana and Cynthia, the two main characters, Glinda and Alphaba. I have not seen the movie. I really want to see it, but besides the point. And this interviewer is like, hey, I didn't know if you saw that people online are saying that they're holding space for the defying gravity lyrics. And Cynthia, who plays Alphaba, is like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that was going on. That's what I was hoping for. And Ariana is like holding her hand, like being all emotional about it. They do an interview.
Yeah, they cry.
They do an interview 2 weeks later, and someone's like, can you like talk about that moment? Like, were you expecting it to go so viral? They're both like, we had no idea what she was talking about. And we just had to play along with it. And Cynthia's like, I thought she was talking about something completely different. And Ariana's like, I actually had no idea what was going on in that moment. And I just felt like I had to be there for Cynthia.
Wait, that's hilarious.
Is that not hilarious? When they're both like, oh no. And then Cynthia said, well, at first I thought she meant something completely different. And once I realized we weren't on the same page, I just had to roll with it and just be like, keep my emotion. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, what is happening?
They just went along with it.
Yeah, they just went along with it.
But it seemed so realistic
No.
because that's something they would do. Like,
oh yeah, they would be bawling their eyes out of there, like, not someone holding defying gravity lyrics. That's what I prayed for.
This is exactly what we wanted.
I meant to talk to you about this at the Christmas party because I was actually dying laughing.
I can't believe you haven't seen the movie.
I know, I really need to.
We've seen it twice.
Well, when I think about what I want to do with 3 hours of my life, it's really hard to sit down and watch a movie. And I could go like after the kids are asleep, but do I want to get home at midnight? Not necessarily. So see, this is what I'm talking about. I need to make time to go and do stuff like that. Like if I want to go see Wicked,
your New Year's resolution is to go see Wicked.
No, I really should. And I've been waiting for it to come out on something because movies these days are only in theaters for like 2 weeks before it comes on like Netflix.
Yeah, it's probably going to be out soon.
I looked it up and they said it wasn't going to be for a while.
They might have to make
I don't know.
money.
I don't know. They might be trying to trick me into going to the movie theater. And
yeah.
So we'll see. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it just randomly pops up and they're not honest about it. But anyway, I got sidetracked because I just really had to get that off my chest. I got reminded that we never talked about that, and that was really important to me. But going back to that time in our lives a few years ago, the whole dating phase, I really feel like we escaped the whole football players are, awful narrative, and they cheat and they lie and they blah, 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 and they're not serious about you or whatever. And I feel like you and I really escaped that.
Yeah, we made it out the trenches.
Because I remember back then we would get crazy comments of like, he cheated on you, he blah, 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 and it would be all these troll accounts, and we're like, okay, give us proof, or like whatever. They would be like, the night before they blah, blah, blah. Oh, we're literally together. Or they had to be in a hotel or whatever.
Things, yeah.
Yes. And it was just like a trend to like lie about stuff like that, was just bizarre to me. But whenever you first met Brayden, do you feel like you immediately were like, oh, this is someone that I wanted to marry? Or do you feel like that's something that he grew into?
Yeah, I don't think when I first met him, I knew that I liked him, but I was kind of hesitant just because that's how I am as a person. I was just hesitant about him as a whole. Like, I just needed to take it slow because I was in my head like, okay, he is a football player and they do have this reputation. Right. I don't really know him. Like, you have to think, I met him and I didn't know any of his friends. I knew Anna Reed knew him.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of hard. It was just something I had to like figure out on my own. But then I definitely feel like as we got to know each other, it was like I could see me marrying him, but it wasn't like from the first time I saw him that I knew we were going to get married. Because I do feel like he had to like kind of show that he wasn't like the stereotypical football player. And he did have to change like a little. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
He had to change for me.
I feel like whenever that's how you know that you're in a right relationship is when you both are changing to become better versions of yourself. And like I said, I knew Brayden a few years before I ended up meeting you. And I will say that you make him better, and I feel like he makes you better, and I feel like you two have grown into people that have changed for the better for each other.
Not us saying the defying gravity.
Oh my God. Is that what it says? Is that what it says?
One of the songs that's in part 2. Have you heard For Good, where it's like, I have been changed for good?
Is that I haven't watched it. I've never listened to it.
You've never seen the play on Broadway?
No.
So you've never seen it at all?
No, I think I did in like I did in like 5th grade.
Just because you said that, and I was
this
like,
whole
I
podcast
cannot
was just
be
us going
serious.
back to the Defying Gravity lyrics. No, but period. If that's what the song says, then period. Listen to it proud, and make it you and Braden's song.
Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna play it for him.
Good. But what is something like during that stage, or even now, I guess, that you did or do to make sure that you guys like maintain a healthy relationship? And would you say, follow up, that you guys had a healthy relationship throughout your entire relationship?
Yeah, I would say no, not always. Like, no, actually, for sure wasn't like always healthy. But I think that was a little bit because Braden, from the beginning, like, he had never had a girlfriend, and I was his first like serious girlfriend that he ever kind of had to like not answer to, but kind of in a way. And you know, just like letting someone know where you are, where you're going, who you're going to be with, and just like respecting your partner. He wasn't always the best with that, and he also had a little anger issues in the beginning that he had to work through. And I feel like he just wasn't the best at like communicating. Like, he would just kind of get mad and shut down and not like talk through things. So I feel like that's something that I made a point to like always say, like, okay, we have to talk, because I feel like in the beginning we would fight a lot. A lot. Like, we'd fight over the way that he stepped into the house or something. Like, it's like little things that didn't even matter that would blow up into these huge arguments. And it did take, you know, like a year or two to kind of figure out how to get through that. And I feel like that's what made us like so strong today, because we went through all the little things early on, like before we were even engaged or before we were married or living together, and we worked through it. And so I feel like communication is the biggest thing for us.
Same.
But now it's like we like hardly ever argue.
I feel like that's really good for people to hear, because a lot of times, I mean, even looking at your social media, you guys wouldn't have guessed that, because obviously you're not coming on social media like, we've been fighting a lot today, cheers, like, but that is just a normal part of relationships. You grow together, and it doesn't always start off where you're like, this person is like somebody that I would want to marry. Sometimes it's like you guys date and you work through things, and there's a lot of things in their past that they haven't had to work through. Because I feel like you said with Braden, that this is the first relationship that he really took serious and committed to, and there was a lot of things that he didn't have to work through prior to being with you, because no one was challenging him to work through them. Like, if he didn't have a girlfriend who's sitting down and being like, hey, it's good for us to communicate, or like, this bothers me when you do this, because his friends aren't sitting down and saying that to him. Like,
absolutely
exactly. So it's good for people to hear that it doesn't always start off as this like picture perfect relationship, but you can grow into that. And I feel like that's the first green flag that you can see with someone. If they're willing to work on the things that are maybe not contributing to a healthy relationship, if they're willing to work through that, then that's a green flag, honey. Because you're always gonna have to do that, like, even in marriage and whatever else, like years down the line, like, you're never gonna be done working through stuff like that. But when you say anger issues, you just mean like when y'all got in arguments, he would just like leave, or like, what do you mean?
Just kind of like shut down and be, you know, just like angry. And I feel like I say that because Braden is just a very loud, like, vocal person, but he's like that in general. So whenever he's mad, it's just like, it's like, okay, if this was coming on to the naked eye, they would think you have anger issues and you're like punching the wall. But that's not what I mean, obviously. But I'm saying, I feel like the approach to like handling things that I just kind of had to tell him, it has to be like, there's a nicer way to like say things and like talk through things and get things out. And
you feel like now
now I probably look like I have anger issues.
You're like, now on the outside looking in, I'm a psychopath.
And he's over here like, he's just laughing because it's funny. Like, when we're arguing, and he's like, it's not serious. And I'm like, who are you? And what did I create? Because now you gave me what you used to have. But unfortunately, I was just like his first girlfriend, which is not the easiest job.
No, it's not.
And
I mean, same with Darian. We talked about it, like, so I won't get too much into it, but I was the first person he really committed to too, because he was afraid of commitment. And so that was the same with us. We had to work through so many different things that he's never been challenged with. And that's what building a healthy relationship is all about, honey. But now you guys are married. You guys got married last March in Malibu. You guys.
Was it last March?
Last March. It's coming up on 2 years.
Yes. Oh, I don't think that was like 3 years ago.
Sorry. Last. How would you word that? Last year in March.
Yeah, because I guess in January, technically, it would have been... Because March... I don't know.
This is coming up on 2 years.
Yes.
Like, in 3 months, it'll be 2 years.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, the most beautiful wedding in Malibu. Insane. I was your maid of honor. And it was the most beautiful wedding. You guys had everything perfect. We did your bachelorette the week before, and I had an 8-week baby at home, which is
crazy,
insane. Whenever Mackenzie asked for me to be in her wedding, she and I were the only people at that party that knew that I was pregnant. Obviously, besides our husbands knew. Well, he wasn't your husband at the time, obviously, but they knew. And other than that, no one else at the party knew. So she like asked me, it is like, will you be my maid of honor? I was like, of course. I'm like, I'm dying to know when this wedding's gonna be because I'm pregnant and she knows that. Whenever you found out I was pregnant, did you know that you wanted me to be your maid of honor?
I'm trying to think. Do you know how many weeks you were then?
I told you, y'all were like one of the first people we told.
Or do you remember how many weeks you were at the party?
I think I was like 10 weeks.
I think I knew before you told me. I'm trying to remember the timeline.
What do you mean new? Oh, like that I was going to be your maid of honor.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to remember when that all happened, like when I decided. Because I think I had already started ordering stuff. So I think you told me and I was like, little does she know.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask her to be my maid of honor.
But I, of course, said yes. It was the greatest honor of my life. I was like, listen, ain't nothing going to stop me from planning this bachelorette.
Yeah. Honestly, the fact that you were there and you guys figured it out was like very...
Oh, I wasn't missing that.
Yeah. It's
absolutely
crazy.
Not.
Like, never say you can't. Because she did. You
can. If you really want to do something, you have to just do
like,
it.
No, because I'm thinking of everyone else that like had an excuse, like people that RSVP'd that didn't show up, and I'm like, listen,
you didn't have an 8-week-old kid.
You didn't have an 8-week-old baby, and she was also at my bachelorette.
Yeah, well,
pumping before we walked into the club.
Pumping
dedication.
Before the club, pumping after the club, honey. And my mom came and had Beckham there because I was like, I'm not going to spend a week away from my 8-week-old kid. Like, she's just going to have to come. Like, we just have to figure it out. So my precious mom came and brought her. And we just figured it out. We had the best time. It was the most beautiful wedding. And, yeah, I do think we should address maybe this is our only fight. I can't think of any other fight that we've gotten into. Yeah. Can you?
No.
So, back when Mackenzie asked for me to be her maid of honor, that's when we got dozens and dozens of comments of people saying, why were you not in Mackenzie's wedding? Like, she had her wedding last year and you weren't even a bridesmaid. Like, why is that? And I feel like now is the time that we can address it, because I never wanted to address it then because, one, this is Mackenzie's moment and it's just not about that. And her and I knew why that was. And yeah, you can tell it from your perspective and I'll tell it from mine too. Like, whenever I got engaged, Tiffany and Mackenzie and I had just gotten close. And I had 12 people in my wedding and Darian only wanted to have 12 people in his wedding. And I went back and forth of, did I want Mackenzie and Tiffany in it? And I was like, well, it's only 12 people. Like, I don't know if I want 14 people in the wedding. And so ultimately I was like, oh, they'll understand. Like, you know, we just became friends or whatever. And we hadn't just became friends. We'd been close. And you guys were my best friends.
Yeah.
And everyone knew you guys were my best friends. And then I was just like, I am just going to go based off who I've known the longest. Majority of the girls that were in my wedding have been my friends for, 6+ years, if not longer. Middle school years and at the very earliest high school. So just people that I'd been friends with for a long time. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just do it based off that, who I've known the longest. And obviously now looking back, I realize why that was so hurtful for you and Tiffany. And I don't want to speak for Tiffany too much because she's not here to speak for herself. If she wants to come on, I'd be happy to have her on. Like, we still talk and text every once in a while. And I'd be happy to have her share her side of things too. But looking back, I understand why that would be hurtful to you guys because, you know, to your face, I'm like, we're best friends, which I wasn't lying. You guys were my best friends. But, you know, you can kind of like talk your side of like why that was hurtful for you.
And I won't speak too much for Tiffany either, but I'll just kind of say like where we were coming from, because I think it was right after you had gotten engaged, I think. And we were at the mall at Chick-fil-A. Do you remember? I'm
yes,
like,
I do.
Vividly thinking this in my head. And at the time, I feel like me and Tiffany had conversations with you about how, you know, we just felt like we didn't have a ton of friends.
Yeah.
So like we really valued each other.
Yeah.
And we were sitting there, and not that I don't think I expected it at all, because I knew that we had just met and that we weren't super, super close, but like I could see us getting there. And I think one of us asked who were you going to ask to be in your wedding, and you listed off all the people, and it was a lot of people, and you just said like you wanted to have people in there that you knew you'd be friends with like for life. And I think that comment is what we took. So and I know you didn't mean it. Yeah. Looking back on it now, I know you didn't mean it like that. Like, you genuinely, those people, you want them, they're going to be in your life for like ever. But after that is whenever we had our first fight, and we talked through that, because at the time, you know, like we said, we didn't have a ton of friends, but I also would rather not have a ton of friends and not have like surface level friends.
Yeah, totally.
So I guess in that moment, I was trying to decide, okay, I looked at Mackenzie as like someone who wasn't a surface level friend and wasn't just like a game day friend, and like I'd be friends with her outside of anything to do with football. And then I was trying to decide in that moment, does she feel the same about us? And so that's what the whole like conversation was about, because I just was like, is this just because we get together every Friday and like we need to make videos together and someone to sit with at the games, and like because it's the girlfriends thing. But obviously we had a conversation about that, and ever since then, once that was cleared up, it always was there. Like, you know, like I would have loved to be in your wedding, but I didn't truly understand, like especially when your bachelorette was going on. Like I obviously wanted to be there, but I didn't understand, and I know Tiffany wasn't there to see this, which I did try to explain to her after your wedding, because that's when my perspective changed. Because I guess in my head I wasn't thinking, okay, 12 is too many people. And then when we were at your rehearsal dinner and I was listening to everyone give their speeches about y'all, I was like, these are people she's known for a really long time. And she's known me for what, a year and a half at the time. Like I get it. Like it sunk in, and I was like, I have no ill feeling towards this, because when we were also sitting while you were walking down the aisle, you literally they were all like here, and then there was a few people like on the side. I was like, there's so many people up there. I'm like, it is okay. Like the day's about you. It's not about me. And I also, that just didn't really matter to me at the end of the day. Like, I asked you to be my matron of honor because you're one of my best friends.
Oh yeah, I kept saying maid. It's maid. Matron. It definitely was your matron. But yeah, and looking back, and I would say this about a lot of things looking back, like I would have handled that situation differently. And I mean, it wouldn't even be a question in my mind now when McKenzie be my wedding. Obviously, of course, not even a second would pass by me saying, of course. But then I was just thinking, 14 is too much and whatever. And I mean, I would have handled it differently. I would have never said, those are my friends that I would, and I don't think I meant it in that way then. I probably was just like, these are just like the people that have been friends with me forever. And should I have worded it differently? 100%. Should I have been more sensitive? 100%. If I could look back, I would have sat down and had a conversation with you guys before any of you guys, like, or before either one of you guys had a question about like if you guys were gonna be my wedding. I would say like, hey, it's not that you guys are not my best friends, and it's not a convenience thing. Like, our friendship is not a convenience thing for me, because to me, I was like, when football's over, y'all are still my girls. Like, y'all are still gonna be my best friends. And so, I mean, looking back, I just would have had those conversations, and I would have never had you guys questioning our friendship. And I remember when I like felt like something was off and we ended up having a conversation about it, I was like, that was so stupid of me. And I wish I would have handled it differently. But clearly we got through it. Everything's fine.
I knew when we had that conversation that it was like all just a miscommunication. And obviously, whenever I asked you to be my matron of honor, I feel like there was a lot of comments of people saying, why would you ask her to be your maid of honor? You weren't even in her wedding. And I feel like that just goes to show that it just, after all that was cleared up, it just wasn't that big a deal. Like, I'm not gonna go tick for tat and be like, oh, you weren't in, or I wasn't in your wedding, you're not being in mine. Like,
it's just like a maturity thing. Yes,
like that's just.
And I know if like roles were reversed, it would have been the same. Like if I would have gotten engaged at the time that you got engaged, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. Like not even a question. It was just like a timing thing, and I just wanted to address that because I feel like people to this day still are like, why is that? Like whatever. And it just was not, it's not that she values me any different than I value her. Like we're best friends and we know that.
Yeah.
And I stand by that. Period. But going back to your wedding and how beautiful it was, when you look back on it, is there anything that you would change, or do you like how everything turned out for your wedding?
I was telling someone this the other day. I don't think I would change anything. Like everything was perfect. Like I don't know if that was because of the wedding planner or if that's, I think a majority of it was because of who we had there. We were so selective on the list. And
yes.
Like, it was a small group.
How many people did y'all invite?
It was around like 130.
But it did not feel like 130.
No, only.
It felt like an intimate party.
68 people came.
Yeah.
Because obviously,
Malibu.
Like, yeah, it was a destination wedding. It was perfect amount of people. I was worried because I think like 45 of that list was Braden's invites.
Like,
so
I only need to invite 9 people.
I was like, only like 20 people are here for me, and I was worried that his part of the list was kind of gonna overpower me, and I was gonna whatever. But all of my friends made me feel so special. I was like, I don't need anybody else here than these people. Like, it was the best day ever, and the only thing I'd change if I could go back is I would throw my bouquet, and I would do I would have done our exit and our last dance before blacking out. But
yeah,
it's a story to tell.
I'll tell my perspective of your blackout journey. So we were all at the reception, and I saw you drinking, but it was like a normal amount. I mean, I've seen you drink before. Like, I was like not worried about you. And one thing about me is I'm going to be the friend that's like worried about you. Like, I'm going to be like, hey, Ken's like, Illy, let's slow down. Like, I know it's your wedding, but you do need to like, let's slow down. You have all night, babe. Okay. So I thought it was a normal amount. Okay. Like I said, was 8 weeks postpartum. I needed to pump. And so I was kind of disappearing from the party like once or twice. I'm calling this a party. Your reception. I don't know why it feels wrong to call it a party, but that's what we were. We were celebrating. And so I go upstairs to pump, and out of nowhere, after like 10 minutes, Mackenzie comes upstairs, and she's like not there. She's not with us. And I was like, what is happening? And I forget who was with you. Was it Bryce?
I couldn't tell you.
Someone was with her, and I just kept asking them like, what happened by the time that I was downstairs to upstairs that all this happened? And I think it was just your adrenaline or something. Like, what happened?
I think what people don't understand is this happened like, so it was literally the last like 30 minutes of the party of the night. And I think genuinely, we were hardly sleeping that week because we had my bachelorette the week before. So I think what it was a lack of sleep. The night before the wedding, I slept for 2 hours before I had to get up and start getting ready. And I was drinking, but I think I had such little food actually when I sat down to eat.
Sleep.
And then everybody was giving me shots. Like, I remember there was probably in that 10 minutes, someone probably gave me like 5 shots. I don't know who it was. And you feel like you have to, celebrate with everybody. And I think because everyone thought I was sick because I was kind of on the toilet like this. I was asleep. I was knocked out. And so everyone thought I felt sick. I never felt sick. I just genuinely, I think the alcohol mixed with
honey, I'm going to sleep.
Tiredness just knocked me out. Like I had taken Benadryl. And so
that is insane.
Yeah.
I still cannot believe that happened. I was like asking everybody questions. Like, I leave the party for 10 minutes and then Mackenzie's no longer with us. Like, what's happening? So you did not get to experience your exit, and that's tough.
No, I had another exit where Braden carried me
I had an
out.
exit called Braden carrying me. I love that the DJ was just like, hey guys, it's over.
Yeah.
And that was that.
Bye, get out.
Thanks for coming. Go back
I
home.
remember the last thing I remember is I started to feel not well, and so I just quietly excused myself from the party, walked up the stairs to the bridal suite, and that's when I was like, okay, there's other people here.
Yeah. That
fell
is
asleep.
hilarious. I still can't believe that happened.
Yeah,
So life after marriage, how do you feel like that has changed? Because you guys were living together.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if I feel like much has changed, just because I feel like we were, you know, obviously living together, but I do think it changes like a little bit in a sense of like just your bond with that person. And I don't know. I feel like we're literally each other's other half.
Yeah.
And I feel like that just like got stronger after marriage.
There's just something people can say it's just a piece of paper. I don't believe in that. I don't believe it's a piece of paper. I believe that you're signing up to be one with someone, and it's such a beautiful union. There's just something about like knowing like this person's not gonna leave, and it's like you knew that before, but now it's like, no, we are like in a union together. Like we are one and we are each other's person.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
think
so
that does
sweet.
change things, because you can't just like, oh, I'm breaking up with you, bye. Like,
Right.
You can't do that. And so it is different, and it does feel like different, but in a sense it's the same, just stronger.
Feels like very secure.
Yeah.
Like I feel like when Darian and I got married, we decided not to live together before we got married, and that was obviously one of the biggest things was, oh, we come home together and whatever. But I would say like the security part of it all is just, it's just such a sweet feeling. Something that has always been so weird to me is right after people get married, people are like, when are you gonna have babies? And I'm sure that's even more so because they know that we're friends and that I did have a honeymoon baby. Is that something that bothers you? Because I see that in comments a lot.
Yeah. I feel like it didn't bother me. It bothers me more the more that it like goes on, only because I've talked about it before and I told people, you know, like we don't want to have kids right now. We're really just like traveling and just not forcing it, not
And
rushing anything.
being married. Like we just got married.
It's not so the fact that people like ask like when you're gonna be having kids. It's the fact that people like project. This literally is something that I'm dealing with right now, because when I was home for Christmas, I made a video with Caroline and her boyfriend, and I was wearing like one of the Lulu scuba jackets, and so they're kind of cropped, and leggings. So we're talking like after we literally had just eaten Waffle House. So obviously my stomach is like a little bloated, and I'm not like this thick,
God
skinny,
forbid you have a little bloat from Waffle House.
And so I lift my arms up in the dance, and so you see my stomach, and there are people in the comments talking about like the bump be bumping, and I'm like, if that was like, if I actually really was pregnant, then yeah, the bump would be bumping. But the fact that it's literally just my stomach and I'm not
feel the need?
pregnant is so rude to say. And I feel like a lot of times I can't do anything. Like Brayden made a video one time where I asked him to cook me just like grilled peppers, and they're like, yep, she's definitely pregnant. And like anything I do, they're like, yep, I have a feeling she's pregnant. And I'm like, or after Thanksgiving, they're like, yep, she looks pregnant. I'm like, it's Thanksgiving. Do you realize I had
I'm gonna eat my
5
corn
meals
casserole
today?
Yeah.
So
That's just so
obviously,
bizarre. Well, even if you were pregnant, like why would people not just wait for you to have a moment where you could say, hey, I'm pregnant?
even if you
It's just
think
it's
I
not
look
necessary.
pregnant, you probably shouldn't say it, because I already don't like really wear like tight revealing clothes. So how do you even know?
Yeah.
So
How about like 2025, everyone's resolution is just like, how about we don't speculate on people's pregnancies?
how about that?
Oh, well, my favorite is when I am postpartum and people want to say that. I haven't gotten it this time around, but before I was like 3 months postpartum and people were like, I feel like she's pregnant again. Babe, I just had a baby.
Yeah.
I'm going to have some flab.
Yeah.
And my flab will continue to flab for as long as it
Honestly,
needs to.
normalize the flab.
Yeah, normalize
That doesn't mean you have a baby bump.
Normalize eating gluten and bloating a little.
Right.
God forbid you
Normalize that.
bloat.
Right.
Do you guys know when you want to have kids?
I always said like 27, 28. So I'm 25 now. So I would say
A few years.
you know?
Listen, live your life. I'm all for that. I've made jokes on the internet before of like trying to get you guys to have a kid, but in reality, I'm happy with you being Beckham's auntie, buying her puppies.
Yeah.
You guys, they got her a puppy for Christmas that she can walk, and it is her favorite little toy right now. Like, it's so sweet, and you guys will be such good parents, like, truly. But when the time is right.
Yeah. I feel like, because it's not the fact that I don't want to have kids. It's just, we just wanted to travel the world, and we also have Blaze and Bentley, and they are like our kids.
Yeah.
So I just don't think there's any real reason to rush.
And once you have them, you can't go back. I'm here to confirm that. Yeah. You really can't. It's like full swing. And yeah, what would you do if you like accidentally got pregnant? Just on a crazy scenario.
I mean, that would be a lot to accept. I don't know how you did it. You went from just, not wanting to be pregnant to just being pregnant. I think that'd be a lot to accept, but I'd be excited. Like, because I do look forward to the day, because I feel like we'll have really cute babies. And
I'm not ready. I'm not ready for that. I'm going to be obsessed with your children.
And we do want to like travel with them. Like, we see families that like travel with their kids and still do stuff. But I was just, trying to enjoy marriage before doing that.
When you look back at your old videos, are there any that you're like, I'm so embarrassed looking back on, or you feel like all of it was a part of the journey? Because you guys originally started the whole, I don't even know what you would call it. It was like lip syncing.
Yeah, the backflash
videos. That was like your iconic thing. Like, do you look back on those and you're like, oh my God, or you're like, oh, this started it all?
No, there's a few, I would say like a year and a half ago, that I went through all my videos, and I've deleted the ones that are like so cringy. I can't watch them.
They can't be
like,
on the internet.
I don't even think I have them on my phone anymore. I deleted them because I never want to see them again.
Totally.
But most of the backflash videos, or most of the videos from that time, I honestly enjoy watching more than our like recent videos. Like, I'll scroll back and watch, and I'm like, this was such a time, and I didn't take it. I took it for granted.
Yeah.
That time, like that time with TikTok was elite.
You could just post anything.
You could post anything.
Everything would become a trend.
Yeah. The people are funny now, but it's just different, like more
calculated.
It's more calculated and more like TikTok shop.
Please.
So
I can't escape TikTok shop.
I
did do it once and sold like 500 eyebrow gels though.
Really?
Yeah, I'm wearing the eyebrow gel right now. You guys go check it out.
They swear by TikTok shop.
No, for real.
Sometimes don't want to see it.
And in 2020, I feel like there was like just such a lore around like, because people overnight would get these like crazy amount of followers. And I feel like not that happened to you, because you had a following before Brayden, right?
Yeah, it was small.
But then like you guys popped off, and when y'all popped up, it was like virtually overnight.
Yeah, back then you would have a video pop off and you would gain like hundreds of thousands of followers
from one video.
You just like don't see that these days.
Absolutely not.
It was.
And if it does, it lasts for a day, and it's almost like you don't want that to happen, because it's like,
it was an insane time, and I miss those days.
I know. Who is someone back then that followed you that you were like, oh my God, this person followed me?
There were a few. One of them was Sweetie. And
Sweetie
at the time,
crazy.
She only followed like 7 people, and I was like, why does she follow me? Like, am I
7 people and you being one of them?
Yeah, like, am I funny, or like, what do I provide to her?
Sweetie?
Yeah, like,
she's so beautiful,
Sweetie. There's a few other girls from like Dance Moms, which I thought that was a big deal, because
you're a big Dance Moms girl.
And like one of the moms that I love, they were not many people. Shocked me, but those people did. So.
Is there one hate comment that you want to address once and for all?
Okay, I guess there is one. This kind of goes along with like body image. But I will never forget the time I posted a video thinking I was so cute, whatever. It was like all these pictures that I loved about myself. Well, one of them is those pictures we took in Miami. Do you remember the ones where I'm sitting down in front of the tree in Miami on the sand? And I've got my legs crossed.
Those are cute.
Yeah, I still like them to this day. But I posted this video saying like, these are my favorite pictures of myself.
Yeah.
And then I kind of log off of TikTok, and I go and check later, and I'm like, why does this video have 4 million views? Well, I look at the comments, and they're the most recent. They're like the bot comments almost. And I was like, okay, weird. Like, whatever. There's no like top comments. So I go to sleep. I wake up. I check again. It refreshes. all the comments are talking about my feet.
No.
Trolling me. They're like, put the dogs away.
No.
The concrete slappers, like all this. It was
Wait.
traumatizing me because Brayden, I think the picture was like in 0.5 or something, but
your toes
the
were
first
long.
thing you see in the photo is my toes, and then the photo cuts off. And so I was like, I never even thought that I needed to be checking my feet in photos, but now I made it like a personal point to never show my feet on social media again, because the way I'll have to see if I have it privated or if I deleted it so I could show you the comments. They were so mean to me. So now I'm literally like, I don't know.
So now the hate comment that you want to address is my feet will be hidden for the rest of the time.
Yeah, and my feet aren't really ugly.
No, you have good feet.
I have long toes, and that's okay.
Yeah, let your long toes join.
Why are we picking apart people with long toes? It's ridiculous. So yeah, the hate comment I want to address is that my toes are beautiful.
Good.
And stay mad.
I'm glad we could just put that out there because that's so important. Something that I love about our relationship is I feel like it's so low stress and low pressure. Like I feel like you and I both get each other in a way that like if you don't text me back, I'm not like, is Mackenzie mad at me? Maybe at the beginning I was, but then once I learned that like Mackenzie's just not going to text you back. Like I will text you 8 times in a row and not care.
Yeah.
And like with me, like if I can't do things, I'm like, it's not that I love you any less. Like
no, we get each other.
Yeah.
And it's not like we drain each other's social battery.
Exactly. And that is something that I feel like I just really appreciate about our relationship, because and I'm not saying that any of my relationships are like high pressure, but I think sometimes in friendships there is like this expectation for each other to like, oh well, if you didn't come to my thing, like this or that, and I feel like we actually are there for each other's things. So it's not really that, but just in general, if I'm like, I don't know, if I'm missing from the party for an hour and a half, I'm not like, oh my gosh, it's Mackenzie, blah blah blah. Like I'm like doing my mommy thing and
living your dreams.
Whatever. Yeah. And I just feel like we get each other in that way.
I appreciate the nights like here or at any of houses that you guys have, and me and Brady will always be here until like 1 a.m. and you're literally like trying to crawl up the stairs, but we will literally not let you because
one thing about Mackenzie Brady, they're gonna stay until midnight.
We get like delirious in these hours, and the things that happen in these hours are just like unspeakable.
So chaotic. And Brayden and Darian truly hate to see us coming together because we always bring out the chaos in one another. But that's gonna wrap up today's podcast. Thank you so much for coming on. But I do want to do a Mackenzie's mindset to end. Mackenzie times 2 mindset. I was gonna say Mackenzie's mindset, but that's literally what the segment's called. It's called Mackenzie's mindset. It already has S.
I saw you post that and I was wondering if you did that on purpose, but then
no, 2 Mackenzie mindsets.
Yeah.
Okay, so our first Mackenzie mindset of today is, this is kind of like starting on like a dreary end, but I feel like we kind of touched on this, so this will be good to talk about it more. But I hate looking at myself in the mirror. How do you battle with body image?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
I feel like I do too, and I feel like everybody does to an extent. So just to know that you're not alone in that feeling, because even if you lost weight, gained weight, whatever it is that you feel is wrong about yourself, even if that changed, there would still be something for you to pick apart, like your toes, or people thinking you're pregnant when you're not. And I just feel like in today's world of like beauty standards, you just have to know that like a lot of what you're seeing is edited, or there's filters, or it's fake. And the most beautiful thing that you can do is be yourself and try to block out the noise of like what you should be and what people think you should look like, and just knowing that you're enough. And if it's good enough for you and you like the way you look, it shouldn't matter the outside opinions.
I stand with that. I don't really have that much more to add. That was a really good answer. I would just say, as long as you feel like you are treating your body well, whatever that means for you in that moment. Like sometimes treating my body well means that I'm gonna eat dessert, and that's me treating my body well. Sometimes that means for breakfast, I'm like gonna have a clean breakfast, and that's gonna make me feel well and fuel me for the day. So just treat your body well, whatever that means, and whatever your body needs in that moment, and be proud of that. And you could be proud of what your body looks like if you're taking care of yourself. Great. And yeah, I don't really have much more to add to that. As far as like the body image issue goes, you are always going to fluctuate. That is like such a normal life thing. Hello, I've had 2 babies. I've seen my body expand in ways I never knew it needed to expand, okay? And my body's not back to what it was and probably never will be, and I've definitely struggled with that. And there's some days where it's harder than others, but if you don't actually like dig deep and solve the internal insecurities that you have, it's never going to go away, and you're going to be 80 and like not be happy with yourself. So I would just say dig deep, even though it probably hurts to do a little bit, and get to the bottom of those insecurities now, or else like it's never gonna be fixed. And I feel like that can be really detrimental to your future, and you're beautiful the way that you are. When I see your face, it's not a thing that... All right, second is it a red flag that my boyfriend is a mama's boy? They talk for an hour daily. I don't know if that's weird.
Okay. Now, I'm going to start off
follow-up questions.
I'm going to start off by saying that Brayden is a mama's boy, and there are days that they talk for an hour, or that we'll talk for an hour. I will also say majority of the time this is probably a red flag. And I will say that loosely because like Brayden is a perfect example. He's a very healthy relationship with his mom, and I love his mom. She's one of my also best friends.
He's like the healthy definition of a mama's boy.
Yes. And they can talk, and they have boundaries, and you know, he doesn't have to worry about stepping on her toes, and
right.
She's literally Brayden in girl form, and she didn't have any daughters, so I'm like her long lost daughter. But I think for other cases that aren't like this, it could potentially be a red flag, only because I know with mama's boys, mother-in-laws are a little crazy. And
here's the thing with Donna, which is Brayden's mom. She's normal, and she has boundaries. I think the thing that can get weird about this is if there's no boundaries, if something bothers you that she continually does and he doesn't check her, or like if he is like low-key wants to date. If she wants to date her son, let's just go ahead and like cut that off.
If you ever get the vibe that she's like in love with her son and like wants to date him,
it's time
leave,
to
sister, because that right there is the reddest flag of them all. And it happens too often. Like
it does. I know too many people personally that have to deal with crazy mother-in-laws, and it's unfortunate. But I feel like you and I really lucked out in this area because you love Donna, I love Tara. They're not crazy.
Thank God.
More moms need to be like them.
Yeah, honestly, they need to take. Honestly, they should make a class that people can take.
They should start a podcast. Donna and Tara, how to not be crazy.
Because the mother-in-laws out there that are boy moms, y'all be wildin'.
Y'all be wildin'. Like we have to stop. If you're a boy mom watching this, go ahead and ask your friends and family if you're that boy mom, so that they can like go ahead and like set that to the side, and you can work on that.
In 2025, these are the 3 things we have to work on: not speculating that people are pregnant, not talking about people's feet, and not being crazy boy moms.
Let's add a 4th, and watching Wicked.
Yep, and watching Wicked.
And you must watch Wicked. All right, guys, I have enjoyed this episode so much. I've been looking forward to this for so long because I love Mackenzie, and I knew this would be a good episode. I love you guys. Subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and you guys can follow along on Spotify and Apple if you guys are just listening. Thank you guys so much for listening and supporting. Go follow Mackenzie on Instagram, TikTok, unless it's banned by now.
Yeah,
I mean,
might be banned.
The future is in TikTok's hand. She also YouTube sometimes. You post some vlogs sometimes. Once a year. Go follow along on there as well. Often. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week on Not Everybody Needs a Podcast.
Bye.